Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be going over how to recreate this look right here. I was playing around with different eyeshadows a few days ago and came up with this look right here, and I really liked it for like a Valentine's Day type of a look. So that is what we are doing today. If you'd like to see exactly how to recreate this look, then just keep on watching. Okay, so first things first, before we start, I must tuck my hair back. It like drives me crazy when it gets on my face. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do is prep and prime the eyes, and for that I'm using my Tarte Shape Tape. This one is the same one that I would use underneath the eye area in the shade medium. Just applying some of that onto the lids before blending it out with my finger and then further blending it out with my damp beauty blender. This is just going to even out the natural pigment that's on my lid, and therefore any kind of eyeshadows that I apply on top of them, you'll be able to actually see, and I won't have to work as hard. Okay, so now in order to set the concealer on the eyes, I'm taking my Subculture palette and I'm grabbing the shade Dawn, which is this one right here. In order to do that, you don't have to have this palette in order to set your eyes. You can set them with some translucent powder, with some face powder, anything that you want with a different eyeshadow even, one that is similar to your skin tone. I like placing a powder over the concealer in order to set it because it definitely helps out with blending. So if you're having any issues blending any eyeshadows onto the lid, try this and see if it helps, because I know it definitely helps me. Okay, so now that the eyes are ready, it is time to move on to this palette. Taking my Dirty Modern Renaissance, and I'm grabbing the shade Blonde Fresco, I believe is how you pronounce this one right here. It's just a soft mauve shadow. I'm going to be taking that with my E40 Sigma brush. This one is the tapered blending brush. Taking that color, applying it onto the crease, starting right here along the outer V, and then dragging that color into the crease. And I'm gonna build up the color intensity from there. I'm just blending everything out using windshield and circular motions, combining those two together. So going back in again in order to further build the color up. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, I'm going to be moving on to the next shade. And just for reference, I went in around 4 different times with that eyeshadow in order for the intensity to be like this on the eyes. I always count the amount of times that I'm picking up product and placing it on the eyes, just because I want to make sure that the same amount that I put on this side goes onto this eye, because that way it keeps it looking more symmetrical. I've had times in the past where one eye I've put like 4 or 5 layers on, and the other one I just do 2, and I think they look good and I think they look symmetrical, but then I go into pictures and I'm like, that's not, no. Okay, so next I'm going to be taking this shade right here. This one is Venetian Red from the palette. Grabbing it with the same brush that I grabbed the previous eyeshadow and placing it right along the outer V and dragging it into the crease. But I'm trying to keep this one a little bit lower, keeping it closer to the crease and further away from the brow bone. Grabbing a little bit more again. Again, placing it right on the outer V to begin with, and then blending into the crease from there. Okay, so now that we are done with that, I'm going to grab the Manny MUA and Makeup Geek collaboration palette for this particular eyeshadow right here. This one is Luna. It is a foiled eyeshadow from Makeup Geek that is sold individually, so you definitely don't have to have this palette in order to get this beautiful foiled eyeshadow right here that I swear goes with anything and everything. It adds just such a nice pop of shimmer onto the eyes, and it's so just soft and subtle, but it still packs such a punch of color that I love it. I could wear this every single day. So just taking that with my finger and applying it on to the mobile lid area all the way up to my crease, but of course I'm stopping right at the outer V right there. Then I'm simply going to be grabbing my blending brush from Sigma. This one is the E25. Going back to the Modern Renaissance palette with Venetian Red once again, just lightly grabbing a little bit of that and placing that on the outer V in order to deepen the shade there. And then without adding any additional product, I'm going to be blending in between the foiled eyeshadow and the outer V so that you don't see any line there. And I'm also going to be blending out the top, but very, very gently. Okay, next comes everyone's favorite part, and that is applying a winged line onto the eyes. Just gonna apply something very basic, nothing too thick, nothing too elongated, just your basic winged line. And I'm using my Kat Von D tattoo liner in the shade Trooper, of course. I just find that this pen is like the easiest to work with, and it gives you the sharpest point along the end. Okay, so now I'm going to take a quick break from the eyes and I'm going to move on to the face for now. I'm going to start off by color correcting the under eye area using the brand new Becca Under Eye Brightening Correcting shade. This one is the medium to deep shade. I actually really like it. I could not wait to try it. I received it a couple of days ago, and when I went to swatch it on my hand, I was like, yes, this is definitely gonna work a lot better under the eyes. And then the lighter shade that I had, I preferred the lighter shade over like a peach corrector or an orange corrector because those tend to be a little too intense for me, and those tend to mess with my concealer shade, so it looks a little orange. Don't like that. Definitely did not like that. So I was really excited when I saw that they were coming out with a deeper shade of the under eye brightening corrector. This one, look, it's just amazing. I love this stuff. Okay, so now that I'm done color correcting, it is time for foundation. Today I'm going to be using my go-to, lately this has been my go-to foundation, which is the Physicians Formula, the Healthy Foundation. I have an entire review on that. If you'd like to watch it, I will link it right here. I'll also have it in the description box below in case you're interested. I just really like the coverage of this. I like how light and natural this foundation feels. I really like it. Okay, so now that we are done with that, it is time for concealer, and of course I'm going to be using my Tarte Shape Tape in the shade medium. So the same one that I used on my lids, I'm going to be using underneath the eyes. Okay, and then of course setting the under eye area using some RCMA No Color powder. Just grabbing some of that with my damp beauty blender. And setting it. Okay, next comes brows, and for that today I'm going to be using this Brow Power brow pencil from IT Cosmetics. This one is in the shade Universal Taupe. Just taking that in order to shape, fill in, and define the brow. Starting here and working my way out. I got this in this last month's BoxyCharm box, and I'm actually really enjoying the shade. I'm enjoying the shade, I'm enjoying the way that it applies. For me, it gets a little bit tricky to find a good brow pencil because either they look too gray or they look too brown. And this one I feel like is a good in between for my hair color. So I'm gonna be using this for a while. Let me know if you all want me to do a BoxyCharm box, like unboxings, where I try everything out in the box. I know Kathleen Lights does that, and I've had a few requests like throughout the months, because sometimes I will show you all what I get in my BoxyCharm boxes. And I have had requests to do like try-on video reviews like she does, just because a lot of you are curious to see like if it's a palette or if it's a highlighter or if it's a brow pencil, like how that looks on my particular skin tone. So let me know in the comments down below whether or not you would be interested in seeing that, and I will absolutely start doing BoxyCharm unboxing videos for you guys here, especially if you don't follow me on like Snapchat. I don't do them on Snapchat very often, but I have done them, and then I get requests. For today's look, I am going to be wearing false lashes, and they're the ones right here. These are in the style Boudoir from House of Lashes. I really, really like these. These are kind of one of the first ones that I discovered from their brand. They look really, really nice on the eye, not too much, but in case these are kind of like a lot for you, they do have a Boudoir light version. So the light version, they're shorter, they're not as, you know, big and in your face. Before I apply the lash, I'm going to be applying some mascara. I'm just going to be taking some of my Beauty For Real High Def mascara and applying that on to the lashes, just giving myself a nice quick coat of mascara before moving on and applying the false lashes. Okay, so now that lashes are on, it is time to tightline. I don't know if you'll remember in my last video, I think it was my last video, that I showed you all how I've been tightlining so easily, which is just by pushing on my lashes very gently, and I get underneath the top lash line. And that way you're not sitting there just poking your eye trying to tightline. This is just a lot easier. And for tightlining today, I'm using the Smashbox Always On Gel Liner in the shade Fishnet. Okay, so now that that is done, it is time to move on to the lower lash line. I'm going to be taking that same pencil and running it on the lower lash line along the waterline. And then I'm going to be taking a pencil brush, grabbing the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette once again, taking the shade Venetian Red to begin with, and just lightly applying that onto the lower lash line. Okay, and in order to blend everything out even further, I'm going to go back with the initial shade that I used on the lid and blend it out that way. And then last but not least, I'm going to be taking the shade Vermeer from the palette, this one right here, and I'm going to be placing it right here along the inner corner. Just really brightens up the eyes. And then of course finishing off the eyes with some mascara along the lower lashes. Moving on to the face, I'm going to be taking my Hoola bronzer from Benefit in order to contour a little bit and bronze up the sides of my face using my small contouring brush. This one is from Luxie. This is their 512. And I start here at the hollow and then I just simply blend upward. And typically that's where I would stop, but for today's look, I wanted my bronzer to also be kind of like my blush. Is what I've been doing on most days. So I'm not only keeping it here, but I'm also bringing it to the apples of my cheeks a little bit. Okay, now that I'm done with that, I'm going to take my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder. This one is in the shade Luminous Light. Applying that on to the tops of my cheeks here. I'm going to apply it here on the bridge of my nose as well. Cupid's bow and chin. Next, moving on to the final step, which is lips. I'm going to be applying some of this Beauty For Real H2O Matte Liquid Lipstick. This one is in the shade My Pleasure. And last but not least, I'm completing everything and setting everything in place, letting all of my makeup melt together using my Pixi Beauty Makeup Fixing Mist. Too much. Alright, and that completes the look. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed this makeup tutorial and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future makeup tutorials, product reviews, just beauty related videos in general here on my channel. And also don't forget to follow me on all of my other social media platforms. I am All Beauty by Sarah with an H on Instagram and All Beauty by Sarah without the H on Snapchat and Twitter. As always, take care and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.